Hey, if you happen to have a GM vehicle, Chevrolet, truck or SUV, four-wheel drive, with the push-button four-wheel drive, and you're experiencing issues with the transfer case shift motor, or maybe your transfer case select switches are dead and the light's not coming on, or you may have a service four-wheel drive message, then this video may be helpful. You're watching the Car Doctor channel. Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim. I'm here at my repair shop, Donor Automotive in Anchorage, Alaska. And got a quick few tips here on these four-wheel drive systems. If you're having issues with the push-button four-wheel drive, like I said before, maybe you have no lights, you have a service 4-by message. In this particular issue, there is no operation of the four-wheel drive system. It's got a service four-wheel drive message illuminate on the cluster, and then no 4-by lights on the switches. In this particular issue, seems to be related to the transfer case shift motor. Here's a couple things to look for. Under the underhood fuse block, there's a fuse. It's called the ATC fuse. 20 amp designation here, an underhood fuse block. First go-to item, if that's your symptom, is check that fuse. If the fuse happens to be burnt, there's a couple possibilities, but the most likely one that we've seen is a bad T-case shift motor. Of course, anytime you're experiencing this particular issue, you want to clean those grounds on the frame rail just under the driver's door there. There's technical service bulletin about that. And, you know, especially if you're in an area where there's corrosion and whatnot, it's always good to clean those grounds at the frame rail. And you can always replace the fuse and see how it works. But if you find that you all of a sudden get power and engage the switch to change the T-case position, and then it blows the fuse again, more than likely you have an issue with the motor itself. I'm gonna raise this one up in the air real quick, show you a few things. Okay, here's that ground I'm talking about, just under the driver's front door hinge area on the frame rail. Anytime you're doing any type of diagnosis or repair on these 4-by systems, or even the ABS system on this car, you may even have problems with your instrument cluster doing weird stuff, dash lights, stuff like that. You want to go ahead and clean this. Sometimes there's two different grounds here. In this case, we just got one bolt with two different wires, but you just want to pull this bolt out of here and then clean things up. I just use a angle grinder or whatever you got to clean all that, knock that junk out of there. And I usually put some protectant on there to prevent future corrosion. It's just a good thing to do when you do it. All right, now we'll take a look at the T-case here and maybe give you a few pointers on replacing that actuator. First thing you want to do if you're going to change the shift motor, if you can and the shift motor's working, like in this case, I was able to replace the fuse and I'm allowed to shift it a few times before it blows again. But if you can, get it into neutral. I'm just going to use my scan tool and the shift mode request, and I'll shift it into neutral. You see that red light indicating that T-case is in the neutral position, and we'll leave it there. Go ahead and raise it back up. Okay, I'm going to pull the skid plate first here. First we need to pull this front drive shaft and just remove the 4 bolts, little strap. Okay, now with the drive shaft removed, we can access the encoder motor. And first thing we want to disconnect this electrical connector. There's actually 2 on this one. Also got a little wiring harness up here. Let's unplug that. Easier said than done. All right, then remove the 3 bolts, securing the motor to the key case. And just pop the motor off the side of the case, like so. So, like I said before, I'm going to try to get a better view of this. It's not really easy. Now, I was able to switch it into neutral, but if you weren't able to do that electrically, you could always use a pair of channel locks or a adjustable wrench and put that right into the neutral position. Okay, if money's no object, I would definitely recommend going with the GM part. The OE part, though, I mean, it's a $450 part from the dealer. So there's other options out there, and of course the Dorman is one of them. I mean, there's some obvious differences in the Dorman part. One of them is that this is just a bushing here instead of the original part, which is actually a roller type bearing. So that's just one of the many differences. But in this case, this guy's had a rough go. I put an injector in this rig a while back, and then it had another one right afterwards go bad. I ended up pulling the rail. I did it for free. I just had him purchase the rest of the injectors. I cleaned it out, but then I found that there was an excessive amount of carbon in the filter and really looked like it needed a pump at that point. The sender wasn't working. So anyway, put that off. They had no money, and eventually the pump went out, and I fixed that up. But I mean, just over the last several months, this guy's dumped a fortune into this thing. So trying to save him some buckos, but it's a higher mileage rig too. His other rig got stolen, and this is kind of the replacement, so I feel bad. All right. See if we can pop this baby on there. Okay, oops, I didn't put the gasket on. So, there we go. Have to transfer the gasket from the old motor to a new one. Go ahead and reinsert the drive shaft. Now I just need to tighten down the front drive shaft yoke bolts there, and install a skid plate. Button this thing back up, lower it down. Okay, now I'll verify the operation. Actually, I think I need to put it in neutral, start it. Okay. There we go. Seems to be switching good. Excellent. Okay, well, I think this one's a wrap. Seems to be functioning normally. We'll punt this thing out the door. Anyway, I hope this video has been helpful. Appreciate you watching, and I will catch you next time. Have a good one.